You're buying a pair of sneakers online. They cost $200. At checkout, a friendly little box offers you a different way to pay. Instead of $200 today, you can pay 4 interest-free installments of $50, one now and one every 2 weeks after that. No interest, no fee, no credit check worth mentioning. So you tap it. Of course you do. The same sneakers, the same price, but the sting is spread out and softened. And a company, Klarna or Afterpay or a firm, has just lent you $150 for 6 weeks for free. This is a strange thing to do for a living. Lending money is supposed to make money through interest. But here is a business lending you money at 0% on a pair of sneakers millions of times a day. The interesting question is not whether the loan is really free. It's who is actually paying for it, because someone is. The first answer is the one the company would prefer you not dwell on. When you pay with a normal credit card, the store pays a fee, somewhere around 2 to 3% of the purchase. When you pay with Buy Now, Pay Later, the store pays a much bigger fee, often 4%, sometimes 6%. So on your $200 sneakers, the shoe store hands the Buy Now, Pay Later company somewhere between $8 and $12, roughly double what a card would have costed. The company fronts your $150, collects your 4 payments, and pockets that fee no matter what. You got an interest-free loan. The store paid for it. Side by side, the gap is plain. A credit card costs the store about 3%. Buy Now, Pay Later costs it roughly double, and the store agrees to it anyway, which only makes sense once you see what the store is actually buying. Why on earth would the store agree to pay double? Because the store is not paying for a payment method. It is paying for a behavior change. There is a well-documented effect here. When the pain of paying is separated from the moment of buying, when $200 becomes 4 little 50s scattered across 6 weeks, people buy more. They buy more often, and they put more in the cart. The industry has a clean number for this. Shoppers using Buy Now, Pay Later spend, on average, somewhere between 20 and 40% more per order than shoppers paying normally. So the store does the math. It loses a few percent in fees. But if the average basket grows by 30% and fewer people abandon the cart, the store comes out ahead. The fee is not a cost. It is a customer acquisition expense that pays for itself in a bigger order. Here is a wrinkle that catches an enormous number of people, and it follows directly from the structure. You bought the sneakers in 4 installments. A week later, they don't fit, so you send them back. In a normal world, that is the end of it. The charge reverses and you move on. But you did not pay the store. You entered a loan with a third company, and the store and that company are now running 2 separate processes that do not talk to each other in real time. The store has to receive the package, inspect it, approve the refund, and tell the Buy Now, Pay Later company to stop collecting. In the meantime, the installment schedule does not pause itself. So the next $50 comes out of your account on schedule for a pair of shoes that is, at that moment, in a delivery truck heading back to a warehouse. The refund, when it finally arrives, can take days or weeks. The money is gone. The sneakers are not yours, and you still owe 2 more payments. It is nobody's fault exactly, which is precisely the problem. The friction that made buying feel effortless makes unbuying feel impossible. The system was optimized very carefully in one direction only. The second answer to who pays is sometimes you. The loan is interest-free only if you pay on schedule. Miss an installment, and most of these companies charge a late fee, a flat fee, often around $7 or $8. On a $50 installment, that is, if you do the math, an eye-watering effective interest rate, the kind that charged openly as interest, would make a credit card blush. And underneath is the float, The company holds enormous sums of other people's money in motion at any moment and earns on along the way. So the model has three legs. The merchant fee, the big one. The late fees, the painful one. And the float, the quiet one. None of them is the interest you were told you weren't paying. There's a fourth leg, and it is the one that turns a payment app into something else entirely. Every time you use Buy Now, Pay Later, the company learns something, what you buy when, whether you pay on time, how much you can be nudged into spending. Over millions of purchases, it assembles a remarkably detailed picture of your financial life. And it uses that picture to become a bank, to offer you a debit card, a savings account, a longer loan at actual interest. The free sneakers loan was never the business. It was the customer acquisition cost. This is also why regulators have started paying attention, because a person can stack 5 or 6 of these loans across 5 or 6 apps, none of which can see the others, and assemble, one painless installment at a time, a quantity of debt no single lender ever agreed to. For most of its short life, Buy Now, Pay Later existed in a regulatory gap. A credit card in most countries comes with a thick stack of legally required protections: the right to dispute a charge, the right to a refund when goods never arrive, a clear monthly statement, limits on what can be hidden. Buy Now, Pay Later, by calling itself something other than credit, had quietly skipped most of that. That began to change. In 2024, the United States consumer regulator issued a rule declaring that the big Pay in 4 products would, in fact, be treated much like credit cards, with dispute rights, refund rights, and proper statements. Regulators in the United Kingdom and the European Union moved in the same direction. This is genuinely good news and worth saying plainly. The returns trap gets better when the company is legally obligated to handle disputes. The hidden late fee gets harder to hide behind a clear statement. But notice what the rules do not touch. They make the loan safer and more transparent. They do not make it less tempting. The fundamental mechanism: separate the pain of paying from a moment of buying, so the basket grows, survives every one of these reforms untouched. You can regulate the disclosure. You cannot regulate away the nudge. The nudge was the product. Once you see it, the structure is the same one that is everywhere. A thing is offered to you for free. The cost is real, but it has been moved onto the merchant, who prices it back into the sticker, onto the future version of you who misses a payment, onto the data you generate, onto the bigger basket you didn't quite mean to fill. The free is genuine in the narrow sense that no line on your receipt says interest. It is just that the receipt is not where the money was. Your interest-free loan is not really interest-free. It is a small, frictionless nudge, paid for by the store, by your own future mistakes, and by the data you hand over, designed to make you buy the $200 sneakers instead of the $100 ones, and to feel at the moment you tap it as though you have been done a favor. And the strangest part is that, in the moment, none of this feels like a trick. It feels like a convenience, a small kindness extended to you at checkout. That, more than the merchant fee or the late fee or the float, is the real achievement. The sneakers, to be fair, are extremely nice.